Welcome back to the Bellevue Bruins Sports Network as we get ready for game number 2 of our doubleheader today between the visiting Dakota State University Trojans out of Madison, South Dakota, and the home team, the Bellevue University Bruins out of Bellevue, Nebraska. Dakota State outlasted the Bruins in a 15-inning game number 1 of today's doubleheader, winning by a score of 9-6. A 3 spot in the top of the 15th inning put Dakota State on top. Dakota State now 34-13 overall, 24-1 in the North Star Athletic Association, a 2-game lead over the Bruins, who are now 38-8 overall and 22-3 in conference play. So the Bruins will need to win all 3 of the remaining games in this 4-game set in order to win the conference championship outright. As you look out on the field, you can see the Bellevue Bruins already on the field. Starting pitcher for game number 2 for the Bruins will be Dustin Shorey.
And at shortstop, number 7, CJ.
Dustin, the junior right-hander, this is his 9th appearance on the season as he's come back from several years of recuperation from arm surgery. 7 complete games on the year for Dustin in those 8 appearances. 6 wins, no losses, 1 save. He has 4 complete games. 43 innings on the year for Dustin. He has allowed 32 hits, 8 earned runs, has walked 10 but struck out 56, a 1.67 earned run average. Had an opportunity to meet Dustin's parents in between games. Glad they're here, making the trip from Arizona. Chilly Nebraska weather for the last week of April, but we're playing through it. Temperature at game time right around 50 degrees, a breeze out of the northwest, similar circumstances to what we finished in game number 1. Very similar lineups for both squads as we get ready for the first pitch from Dustin Shorey to start game number 2, a fastball for a called strike 1. We've been playing a little hit and miss with scattered showers throughout the afternoon. Looks like a few more raindrops are coming down right now as we get ready for game number 2. Catcher Ryan McDaniel will lead it off for Dakota State. 1-1 the count on McDaniel. The only change in the lineup for Dakota State game number 2, the designated hitter in game number 2 will be Cade Wenninger for the Trojans. Everything else pretty much the same as we had in game number 1. Same thing that can be said for the Bruins. Popped up on the infield. Drew Staley going back a couple of steps, now adjusts to the right side as the wind's blowing. Drew stays with it to make the catch for the first out of the game. Again, the wind blowing gustily at times from the left field side to the right field side, steady in the in the mid-teens. Sorry, my voice is all goofy after a 15-inning game. Sound like Yoda. Next up for the Trojans, center fielder Walker Holtgren. Though Shorey retires the first man he faces, another fly ball, this time to left field. Jake Lacey, position appropriate there. He'll look it in for the second out of the inning. Dakota State jumped off to a 6-0 start through the first 4 innings. Bellevue came back, picking up 6 runs on 4 home runs to tie it at 6-6 after 7 innings. And then we were scoreless all the way through to the 15th, where Dakota State put up 3 runs in the inning, and Bellevue could not match it, and game number 1 came to an end. Here's Jeremy Green, the left fielder. Swings and misses on the first offering from Dustin Shorey. Shorey can get his fastball into the low 90s. A power pitcher. Called strike 2. Shorey averaging just about 12 strikeouts per 9 innings. Just a hair under that mark. The native of Chandler, Arizona. One hopper to shortstop. C.J. Townsend across the diamond and a quick top of the first inning. 6-3 on that final play. A 3-up, 3-down top of the first after a half. The Trojans nothing, and the Bruins are coming to bat. So a good start for Dustin Shorey and the Bruins as we start this game number 1. Bruins trailing by 2 games in second place in the North Star Athletic Association. The Bruin Bats will be facing right-hander Luke Guest in game number 2. This is the 12th appearance on the season for Guest. This is his 11th start, a 6-win, 3-loss record. Guest has 3 complete games. He's thrown 49 innings on the year, has allowed 36 hits, has allowed 14 earned runs, walked 20, and struck out 57. A 2.57 earned run average for Luke Guest, the starting pitcher in game number 2 for Dakota State. And again, we invite you to be part of our broadcast. If you would like to join us today, send along a text message to 402-515-7654. I apologize, there were a couple of texts that came in late at game number 1 that I didn't get to, but we appreciate everybody who's sending us along. The one that I thought was kind of fun, this game will drive you to drink. I got a text message of, not quite sure if that's a Bloody Mary or a Moscow Mule or something that looks good. Go Bruins from Murray, Utah. So game number 2, we're in the bottom of the first inning. And our first game number 2, game 2 rebound hubbas. Go Bruins from Cade Sakamoto's dad, listening in out in California. For the Bruins, it'll be Kobayashi, Barnett, Lacey, Grant, Grade, Lind, Sirois, Staley, and Townsend, the starting 9 in the batting order. And the Bruins get to work. Here's Kanta Kobayashi. Kanta with 3 hits at game number 1 raised his batting average back over the 400 mark on the season. He'll be the first man faced by Luke Guest. First pitch fastball for a called strike 1. Guest looks like he's going to work exclusively from the stretch. Comes set just above the belt and delivers. Kind of an interesting delivery. He'll turn his back completely toward the hitter, then kind of corkscrew his deliveries. As Kobayashi 1-1 the count to him. Kanta, a little chopper up the first base line. A foot race, and Kanta is out by a step on a nice job of fielding by Luke Guest over to his first baseman, Jace Pribble. 1-3 on the play.
Bellevue has lost game 1 of a North Star Series twice ever. They've come back to win the next 3 both times.
Hit me with that again, I'm sorry, Bill.
Bellevue's lost game 1 of a North Star Series twice ever. They've come back to win the next 3 in the series both times.
All right, Bellevue, even though they lost the first game, have a history of coming back. After having lost the opening part of a series, opening game of a series, Bellevue has come back twice to win the next 3 games in previous year's history. 0-1 the count on Connor Barnett. Change up. Swung on and missed by Connor over the top. 0-2.
2016 against Viterbo, 2017 against
2016 against
Jamestown.
Viterbo, 2017 against Jamestown. Thank you to Bill Mullins once again for all the great information he provides as part of our broadcast. Bill, the Associate Sports Information Director, or words to that effect. As we start off game number 2, a little bit after 4 o'clock, running about an hour behind time after that 15-inning game number 1. Connor Barnett, the swing and the miss on the sweeping breaking ball from Luke Guest. Guest, one of 4 Dakota State pitchers who were named Pitchers of the Week in conference play this year. Besides Guest, J.D. Kirchner, who picked up the win in relief in game number 1. Grant Svikulis and Sam Tira, who was the starter in game number 1. Next batter for the Bruins, left fielder Jake Lacey. Ball 1 on the first offering to Jake. Jake, one of 4 Bellevue Bruins with a home run in game number 1, fouls that one out of play. Logan Grant had a 2-run shot in the 4th inning. Connor Barnett and Jake Lacey went back-to-back in the 6th. And then Mathieu Sirois with a 2-run home run in the 7th. Those were the 6 runs scored by the Bruins. Bellevue had a couple of opportunities to win an extra inning, but couldn't get the big base hit against winning pitcher J.D. Kirchner. 2-1 the count on Lacey. Swing and a miss. Lacey with good movement on his breaking ball that time. Dakota State with the baby blue, Columbia blue, powder blue whatever you want to call it, uniforms. That one's chopped on the ground to third. Bobbled over there, and no play will be made. Jake Lacey hustling down the line. He will reach on the E5 against third baseman Dawson Portner. Portner may have pulled his head off the ball just a little bit before gloving it securely, and the Bruins have their first base runner. Next up, the catcher, Logan Grant. First pitch, fastball for a called strike as the wind continues to blow left to right as you're viewing it on our camera, looking down at John Stella Field at Brown Park. Noon start for game number 1 as Grant comes up empty on that swing. A cold front came through the area about that same time. We started game number 1 at 53 degrees, but the temperature dropped during the course of game number 1, and I believe continuing to do that. Now Grant hits into center field. However, a couple of steps to his right goes Walker Huntgren, and he'll make the catch to retire the side. No runs on no hits. There was 1 error and 1 man left on base as we're 1 inning into this 7-inning contest. The Bruins nothing and the Trojans nothing. Second game of the doubleheader on game number 1, day number 1 of this 2-day, 4-game series to see who wins the conference regular season. For Dakota State Trojans, they have now won 27 of their last 28 games. Their only loss at conference play was a couple of weeks ago to Dickinson State. Bellevue currently in second place in conference. Will need all 3 wins of the remaining games in order if they're going to win another regular season championship. The conference postseason tournament begins this Friday, May the 5th, in Dickinson, North Dakota. And it'll be the winner of the conference tournament who will get the automatic bid to the NAIA World Series opening round. 10 different sites across the country will host those opening rounds. Bellevue has put in a bid to host. Bellevue has hosted the last 2 consecutive years, and a pretty good chance that they'll host again this year at Don Roddy Field, close to the Bellevue campus. Top of the second inning, right fielder Mason Macaluso will lead things off for Dakota State, facing Dustin Shorey.
Right fielder Mason Macaluso.
Dustin, the Chandler, Arizona native. First pitch, a breaking ball for a called strike 1 to Mason Macaluso. So Macaluso from Gilbert, Arizona. So those 2 guys, both in the Phoenix area, missing off the outside edge. 1 ball, 1 strike to count. Breaking ball clips the outside corner. Shorey ahead, 1-2. 2-man umpiring crew throughout the regular season. A nicely located fastball on the inner half gets Macaluso looking. First strikeout of the game for pitcher Dustin Shorey. Shorey just under 12 strikeouts per game, per 9-inning game. Talking to Dustin's dad in between games, he said Dustin wants to shoot for 11 strikeouts today in this 7-inning contest to boost his average over the 12 mark. The next batter he will face, first baseman Jace Pribble, fouls it out of play. Swing and a miss. That pitch, inner half, tied Pribble up.
I know we get like 590 plus arms every year. No one here can hit me low.
9 runs on 16 hits in game number 1 for Dakota State.
4 starters and a close.
That pitch misses off the outside edge. Grant tried to pull it back in. 1-2. 6 runs on 13 hits for the Bellevue Bruins. Again, shooting for that outside corner, just off the edge, 2-2 the count. Dakota State had 4 runs on 6 hits in the 3rd inning, and then 3 runs on 5 hits in the 15th inning to pull away for the win. Popped up on the infield, but Hugh Serwas calling for it. Now drifting in foul territory with the wind, and Mathieu will stay with it to make the catch. So Drew Staley had one of those mile-high fly balls in the 1st inning. Now it's Mathieu Serwas' chance in the 2nd. Next up for the Trojans, the shortstop, Chris Burke. Burke with that grand slam home run in game number 1 gave the Trojans the early big lead. First pitch swinging here, fouled back. Fouled once again, 0-2 the count. Shorey working ahead of the hitters early on. .50 degrees right now with winds out of the northwest, 17 miles per hour. That's hitting the air to center field. Kanta Kobayashi drifting back, now settling underneath it, and he'll make the catch to retire the side. 6 up, 6 down for Dustin Shorey and the Bellevue Bruins as Dakota State goes in order once again. After an inning and a half, Bellevue nothing and Dakota State nothing. These two schools have a long history of playing baseball against each other, both in conference and non-conference before the North Star Athletic Association began. Bellevue leads the all-time series 28-4. A dominating performance, but Dakota State, very good team on the field this year. Trying to make some semblance of sense out of my scorebook here after we went 15 innings in game number 1. I've got notes and at-bats and all kinds of stuff every which way, so I may not be real accurate looking back to that. 49 degrees the temperature in Omaha. That's about where we were at the end of game number 1. Cloudy, overcast skies. Tomorrow looks to be a better day weather-wise. The forecast for tomorrow, 70 degrees, but windy. We'll take a warm wind as opposed to a cold wind any day. Here we go at the bottom of the 2nd inning. Third baseman Nick Grade will lead it off for the Bruins.
Nick Grade.
You can see the wind rustling the jersey of Grade as he steps in. There's a breaking ball to start from Luke Guest on for his 2nd inning of work. Chopper foul up near the third base dugout. A decent crowd on hand here today despite the weather conditions. A lot of fans making the trip down from South Dakota. A lot of the Bellevue faithful as well. A lot of moms and dads. Swing and a miss. Again, the breaking ball from Luke Guest. That's 2nd strikeout, 1 per inning thus far for the right-hander. Here's right fielder Anthony Lind. Guest, the sophomore. He's 6'4" out of Fort Collins, Colorado. Strike 1 as Lind could not check his swing there. Fort Collins, Colorado. Got to stop and see a girl. Famous line from League of Their Own. Home of Marla Hooch. Another strike called. Good movement on the pitches from Luke Guest. Sweeping breaking ball misses off the outside edge. Guest with a 6-win, 3-loss record on the season, but a very good 2.57 earned run average.
One of the best ones I've seen.
Breaking ball misses inside. Guest has only allowed 2 home runs on the season in 49 innings of work coming into today's contest. Chop foul by Lind. Count remains at 2-2. Excuse me. Sip of Coca-Cola there to get the old vocal cords going once again. Line drive by Anthony Lynn right back through the box. The first base hit of the afternoon's game number 2 as Lynn becomes the 1-out base runner. Anthony was hitting .353 coming into the start of today's action. He's a runner on first as stepping into the batter's box. Mathieu Sirois had a chance to talk with Mathieu's dad and grandfather, who are here from Quebec watching the game. And there's a base hit for Mathieu. Hopefully they made it back for the start of game number 2. They were saying they were going to have to go back to the hotel to get a heavier jacket. They weren't quite expecting these raw conditions. So Mathieu, his 3rd hit of the day, including a 2-run home run. So the Bruins with runner in scoring position, and the batter, second baseman, Drew Staley. First pitch from Guest, a fastball for a called strike 1.
So why does Drew never swing first pitch?
Drew, a .386 batter, seldom will swing at the first pitch of an at-bat. Actually helps his on-base percentage as he draws a lot of walks. Now behind in the count, though, 0-2. Staley, .503 on-base percentage. That's tops on the Bruins squad, even better than Kanta Kobayashi, although Kanta may have the lead now after game number 1, where he had 3 hits and a couple of more times on base. Sweeping breaking ball outside, 1-2. Drew had a hit and a hit by pitch in game number 1 today. Guest comes set at the belt. Fouled off the netting up the right side. Count remains 1-2. C.J. Townsend on deck for the Bruins, and then back to the top of the order. Chopper to short. Goes to second base for 1. The relay to first is not in time. So on the fielder's choice, Drew Staley reaches. Anthony Lynn over to third. Mathieu Sirois retired from Chris Burke to Hakeem Uteam. Runners at first and third for C.J. Townsend. A chance for the Bruins to get on the board in this bottom of the second inning.
Next to plate, shortstop.
Bruins did not lead at any point in game number 1. They trailed 6-0 before coming back to tie it 6-6 before falling in 15 innings, 9-6 the final score. Breaking ball misses inside. C.J. Townsend hitting .359 on the year. Chopper to third. Portner gloves it, gets his feet underneath him, and throws across the diamond to retire C.J. and end the Bruins' threat in the bottom of the second inning. No runs on 2 hits. There were no errors and 2 men left on base after 2 complete. Still looking for our first run of this second game of the doubleheader between the Bruins and the Trojans. All right. Again, if you'd like to be part of our broadcast, we invite you to send along a text message. We had a lot of folks joining us that way in game number 1 today. My text message number is 402-515-7654. Dustin Shorey back to the mound for the Bruins for his 3rd inning of work. Over most of the conference season, Dustin has been the Game 4 starter. But Dwayne Monlix and pitching coach Sean Malley mixing up the Bruin pitching order a little bit this weekend. Normally it's Salicio, Crippen, Brinton, and Shorey in that order. But Blake Crippen got the start in game number 1 today. Justin Shorey getting the start in game number 2. Expect to see Alex Salicio in game number 1 tomorrow. And then Easton Brinton to finish up the finale in game number 2. Ready to go at the top of the 3rd inning for Dakota State. Designated hitter Cade Wenninger will lead things off. Left-handed batter. Did not play in game number 1. Gets the DH nod in game number 2.
Cade Wenninger.
Not a lot of lefties in the Dakota State batting order. First pitch from Dustin Shorey, swung it on and missed. There's another nicely located fastball, outer half. Bellevue rated the number 5 team in the NAIA coaches top 25 poll as Wenninger grounds it to Stella at second base, 2-hopper. And the leadoff man is retired in the top of the 3rd inning. 7 consecutive retired by Dustin Shorey and the Bellevue defense. Next up, 3rd baseman Dawson Portner.
At an A spot, 3rd baseman Dawson Portner.
Dakota State came in hitting .318 as a team. First pitch fastball again, Shorey working ahead. Dustin will work exclusively from the stretch. Pops another fastball in the zone, 0-2 on Portner.
Then technically we'd say we're regular season champions.
Not even technically we would be.
Oh, really?
Because they got 4 losses.
That breaking ball just misses down low, 1-2.
Yep. No big deal, just went out.
Lined into right field for a base hit. Dawson Portner went with the pitch, breaking away from him, just guided it in right field. That's the first hit, first base runner of this game for Dakota State. Up next, the 9-hole hitter, second baseman Hakeem Uteam.
At the 9th spot, second baseman Hakeem Uteam.
The native of South Jakarta, Indonesia. Don't get a chance to say Indonesia players much, so I'll say it as often as I can. That one's fouled out of play, landing right behind the group of South Dakota State fans who made the trip down. Final weekend of the 2023 North Star Athletic Association baseball season. It's come and gone pretty quickly. Again, fouled up the left field line. That'll get out of play behind the Dakota State bullpen. Bellevue was supposed to play 4 home series this season and then 3 on the road, but because of the bad winter weather conditions further north, Bellevue will wind up playing all 7 conference series here at home. Grounded to Mathieu Serrois. He'll take the sure out at first base by stepping at the bag. Dawson Portner advances to second on the play. 3 unassisted on Uteam. And back to the top of the order for Dakota State and catcher Ryan McDaniel.
Back to the top of the order, catcher Ryan McDaniel.
McDaniel, a Colorado native. goes a little further east to play his college baseball. Fouled off the top of the helmet of catcher Logan Grant. Logan wears that hockey-style catcher's helmet. Found out earlier this season that Logan was also a hockey goalie up in Canada, his home nation. Setting up on the inner half of the plate. That's where the pitch goes. Driven to left field. Jake Lacey goes back. Off the fence, about halfway up. As Ryan McDaniel will deliver the first run of the game for Dakota State. An RBI double. A couple feet shy of a home run. He's a Dakota State catcher, so he'll come out in favor of courtesy runner Daniel Lesher, who will step on the bag at second base. So Dakota State takes the early lead once again, 1-0 on the double by McDaniel. Next up for the Trojans, center fielder Walker Holtgren.
Center fielder Walker Holtgren.
Shorey looks the runner back to second and delivers the first pitch to Holtgren. A little bit wide, ball one. Game number 2, a 7-inning scheduled contest in North Star Athletic Association rules. Outside once again, 2-0. Doesn't matter that you play 9 or 15 in game number 1. Game number 2 is always a 7-inning contest. No 10-run rule in the 7-inning games. Foul over by the Bellevue dugout. 2-1 the count on Walker Holtgren. Holtgren flew out to shortstop his first time up in this one. Holtgren, the guy for Dakota State, leading the team in batting average, on-base percentage, and slugging percentage. Though Shorey will work him carefully with 2 outs and a runner at second. Tries again to hit that outside corner, but it goes too wide. Now 3-1. Holtgren from Maple Grove, Minnesota. And a balk will be called on Dustin Shorey. That will advance the courtesy runner Lesher to third base. And a strike call, that'll make it a full count. Holtgren thought he had earned the walk, so he tossed the bat. Home plate umpire had a different opinion, so now a full count. And if I were Holtgren, I think I'd expand my personal strike zone as the umpire, not usually happy with players trying to show him up. Popped up on the infield, but it's going to carry out a play right behind the press box. Full count pitch once again. Daniel Leshner, the runner at third base, courtesy running for Ryan McDaniel. 3-2 pitch, swung on and missed. A nice slider, bites down out of the bat swing of Walker Holtgren. 1 run on 2 hits. There were no errors and 1 man left on base. After 2.5, the Dakota State Trojans won. The Bellevue Bruins, nothing. Bellevue comes into today's game averaging about 10 runs per game. They only had 6 in that 15-inning loss in game number 1. Dakota State averaging 6.9 runs per game. They played at 9 in the 15-inning contest. When it comes to offensive categories, the Bruins lead the Trojans in most categories. Bruins lead in hits, 352 to 447. Bellevue leads in home runs, Now 79-42. And in runs batted in, Bellevue coming into today's action, 425 runs batted into 281 for Dakota State. But in the pitching categories, Dakota State has the advantage. Team earned run average, Dakota State 2.81, Bellevue 4.15. Strikeouts per game, Dakota State 10.6 to 8.6 for Bellevue. And hits allowed, Dakota State with the advantage, 6.3 per game to 7.5 per game for the Bruins. All right, throwing some stats at you. Did you catch all those? Here we go with the bottom of the third inning. Second time through the order for the Bruins. Leadoff guy Kanta Kobayashi will start it off. First pitch outside. Kanta retired on a little swinging dribbler up the first base side his first time up. There's a fastball in the zone, 1-1 to count. Kanta down with 71 hits on the year for the Bruins. Fouled that one out of play. Again, pitcher Luke Guest must have very strong abs the way he twists himself at his core. Breaking ball comes inside. 2-2 to Kanta. Lined. Fair ball inside the line. Kanta rounds first. He'll make it to second easily. As Jeremy Green tracks it down in the corner. His throw will be to third base. Kanta Kobayashi with a line drive double just inside the third base bag. And the Bruins again having a runner in scoring position. As stepping to the plate will be the designated hitter, Connor Barnett. We've got a Trad Richardson is batting in Connor Barnett's spot. Don't know if Connor hurt himself or he did. Okay.
Number 13, Trad Richardson.
He's been battling a hamstring injury for the lower half of his body. He's been battling a shoulder injury, and a balk called against Luke Guest. So each of the pitchers now with the balk called. That'll advance Kanta Kobayashi to third. Let's see how Dakota State plays the infield. They're going to move him in about halfway for Trad Richardson. First at-bat of the game for Trad. They appeal to the base umpire. They say no swing. So Trad came on as a pinch hitter in game number 1. Hitting .380 on the season. Trad, chopper right at the shortstop. He'll hold the runner at third. And the throw to first base retires Richardson, 6-3 on the play. Next up for Bellevue, left fielder Jake Lacey. And again, the infield will be playing in.
Jake Lacey.
About halfway, a little bit more than halfway, I guess. Hoping a similar thing will happen, a ball hit right at him. Lacey, that one, Kobayashi running with the pitch with contact. A nice play at shortstop by Chris Burke to snare it going into the hole. 6-3 on that play as well, but Jake Lacey will pick up a run batted in as Kanta Kobayashi scores the first Bellevue run of the game to tie it 1-1.
Logan Grant.
Logan Grant next up for the Bruins. Nobody on, 2 men out. Logan, first pitch swinging, back to the net. Both teams pretty aggressive with going after pitches early in the count. For Jake Lacey, that is now his 64th run batted in on the year for the Bruins, which leads the squad. 0-2 the count now on Logan. Tries to shoot the outside corner, misses out and away. One run on 2 hits for Dakota State. 1 run on 3 hits for Bellevue in the bottom of the third inning. Opposite field in the hole. Logan Grant pulls his hands in close to his body and shoots one opposite field. That's the direction his home run went in game number 1. And again, we'll have a courtesy runner. Takumi Maeno will check in to courtesy run for the Bellevue catcher.
Courtesy running at first base with Birds is Takumi Maeno.
Well, Takumi checks in. He leads the Bellevue squad with stolen bases, 19 bags on the season. As the home plate umpire will signal up to the press box.
Next to the plate, the third baseman.
Here's third baseman Nick Grade. Breaking ball in the zone for a strike one start from Luke Guest to Nick Grade. 4 hits now for the Bruins.
Logan Guess. Luke Guess.
Pitch misses inside. In game number 1, Sam Turpa got the start for Dakota State. He had a 6-0 lead. It was 6-6 when he left. J.D. Kirchner picking up the win in relief. That one bounced away. The wild pitch will scamper Takumi Maeno down to second base. Now he's in scoring position with 2 outs. For the Bruins, Blake Crippen got the start. Jared Eifler came in for an inning plus of relief. Parker McMahon finished it up with a strong showing until he got to the 15th inning, then surrendered 3 runs. And he picks up the loss for the Bruins. A visit from the Dakota State pitching coach after that last wild pitch. Alec DeMaria and Miles Kumo, the assistant coaches, under head coach Darian Hardy for the Dakota State program. Visit concluded, and we'll be back to the action. Nobody throwing in the Dakota State bullpen, so just kind of a little calming visit. The Omaha South High Packers high school team will be playing a game at the conclusion of this one. They'll be running a little bit late, as the 15 inning game took over 3 hours and 40 minutes to conclude. Breaking ball, swing and a miss by Grade. Nick's been a little susceptible to the breaking ball in the 2 games today. Struck out his last time up. Had 3 strikeouts in game number 1, so he's looking to back into the groove. Line drive hit into center field. Center fielder Holtgren able to get there, however, to take a hit away and retire the side. So a good swing by Grade, but it comes for naught. Bellevue picks up 1 run on 2 hits. There were no errors, and 1 man left on base. 3 innings complete. 1-1 our score between the home team Bruins and the visiting Trojans of Dakota State. Hum babe, let's go Bruins. You got this one. That's from our Oregon fans up there, the Townsends, listening in for both games today. Go DSU. We are watching from Livingston, Texas. Robert and Lithia Ayala, grandparents of Jeremy Green. We have Uncle Manuel and Aunt Alicia also watching. So we're glad you're joining us today. Probably a little warmer down there in Livingston, Texas than it is here in Omaha, Nebraska, but we're playing baseball in the Midwest. And it'll be Jeremy Green who will start things off for Dakota State in the top of the 4th inning. Good timing on that text message, huh? If you'd like to join us today, the number is 402-515-7654. Had a chance to meet several groups of parents and grandparents here today. Always nice to talk to everybody and visit with them, even though it's kind of crazy in between games as we get ready for game number 2 pretty quickly, as have to go scamper for lineups and things like that. Here is Jeremy Green to lead off the top of the 4th inning. Green, a ground out his first time up to shortstop C.J. Townsend. Breaking ball for a called strike. Shorey gets ahead of Green. The Texas native working against the Arizona native. Misses wide on that pitch, 1-1. Chop foul up near the Bellevue dugout. Austin Alexander, one of the Bellevue coaches, making the play there. Austin in his 3rd year. Richie Moore, assistant coach, in his 13th year. Pitching coach Sean Malley in his 16th year. And associate head coach Mitch Schmidt, senior member of the staff, in his 17th year. As Yelvin's chop foul at the third base side. All those guys working under head coach Dwayne Monlex now in his 13th year. Former head coach, graduate of Dickinson State University, has been with Bellevue University since 2009. We'll go with that. Foul out of play. 2011, thank you, 2011. My math brain suddenly went. Count remains at 1-2. Ground ball to the right side. Staley gets to it, gloves to first base. The throw not in time as a hustling infield single by Jeremy Green on the head-first dive to first base. Never did like that dive into first base. A lot of opportunities to get hurt over there, but Green makes it work. He'll get his first hit of the game, and he'll be the leadoff guy for right fielder Mason Macaluso.
That is Dakota State's all-time leader. Right fielder, is Dakota State's all-time leader in home runs and RBIs.
Bill says he's the all-time leader in home runs and runs batted in, career-wise, for Dakota State. A big home run type swing on that one, but fouls it up the first base side.
Both those marks earlier this year.
Acquired both of those honors earlier this year. He was also named a Player of the Week. 54 runs batted in and 11 home runs thus far this year. Shorey goes to first base. Green back easily. Macaluso from Gilbert, Arizona. And it looks like Green might have got something in his eye over there. Second or third time today we've seen somebody requiring medical attention because of the rubber pellets. And one of the athletic trainers will come out with a bottle of eye wash, or he could be wearing contacts, just needs to get that readjusted. Let's try that again. Yeah, we got a flyover by a hawk or a falcon or something.
We got a falcon in the booth.
Yeah, oh, boo-hoo. Simon Falcon in the booth, and one of your relatives out there flying overhead, right, Simon?
I'd say so.
All right. No balls, 1 strike's the count on Macaluso, as Green has his eye problems taken care of. And so, of course, Dustin's going to make him dive back once again. Very finely crushed rubber pellets help keep the field turf kind of fluffy and natural-like. Chop right down to third, 1 hopper. Second for 1, over to first in time. The Bruins complete the around-the-horn double play, 5-4-3. From Grade to Staley to Sirois. Not exactly the same fluid sounding as Tinker to Evers to Chance, but the Bruins make it work to clear the bases. And again, if you don't know who Tinker to Evers to Chance is, look it up on Google. First baseman Jace Pribble, trying to keep the inning going. After that double play, breaking ball low and away. That double play combination made famous for the Chicago Cubs back in the day.
19 odds.
Back over a century ago. There's a pitch on the outer half for a called strike 1, 1-1. Pribble flew out his first time up in this one. That one's hit down the right field line. Anthony Lynn giving chase in foul territory. Anthony throws a dive, winds up sliding into the fence in foul territory. Can't quite make the play, but E for effort on that by right fielder Anthony Lind. Pribble came into the series hitting .307. He's drawn an offer, however, thus far today. Another opportunity for Nick Grade. Stays low. And the throw on the money once again. 2 assists in the inning for Bellevue third baseman Nick Grade.
1, 2, 3.
No runs on 1 hit. There were no errors and nobody left on base. 3.5 in the book. We're halfway through this one. 1-1 our score between the home team Bruins and the visiting Trojans of Dakota State University. Don't let the Trojans get hot from the Boathouse in Madison, South Dakota. Glad you're with us today on the Bellevue Bruins Sports Network. Hello from Jeff and Presley Portner from T, South Dakota. Outstanding broadcast as we make our trek to the games. Glad you're listening on the way down. A little less than 3 hours from T to Omaha. May make part of game 2 now that the game 1 went so long. Dad and sister of DSU player Dawson Portner say go Trojans. Safe journeys down I-29. You'll get all messed up once you get to Council Bluffs, as they've had about 1.5 years of road construction there. So hopefully that won't trip you up. The Locke family has a new fan. We try to keep up the rep in Bitterroot, Montana. Glad you guys are listening once again today. Former Bellevue baseball player. Listening again on this cloudy, cool, breezy Friday afternoon, coming to you from John Stella Field at Brown Park. Starting it off for the Bruins, right fielder Anthony Lind. Lind singled his first time up, got the first hit of the game for Bellevue. Shows bunt, instead takes it right in the ribs. They're going to appeal to first base to say if there was a swinging bunt attempt, and that one stung Anthony. He's just come back from an injury when he had a collision at first base. He tried to pull the bat back, but there's no way for his body to go as that tailing fastball just kept riding up and in. Got him flush in the rib cage. Tyler Komicher, the Bellevue athletic trainer, talking to Anthony as he's now bent over a third of the way up the first baseline. Painful way to get on base, but Bruins have the leadoff guy on here in the bottom of the 4th inning. Anthony just threw a dive going after that foul ball in right field, wound up into the fence. So his body's taking a beating. He'll be given some time to catch a drink of water, check his breathing. They're going to let him jog a little bit to see how he's doing.
I mean, you have to. Any of our guys would.
And it looks like Anthony's going to stay in the game. Gets the thumbs up from Tyler Komicher and Dwayne Monlick, so Anthony becomes the leadoff guy in the bottom of the 4th inning. Bruins trying to break the 1-1 deadlock as Mathieu Sirois steps in. Sirois also with the single his first time up.
Mathieu Sirois.
Sirois with that little wiggle with his back foot into the batter's box. First pitch inside, ball 1. Number 27 on the Bruins roster. Thought about that pitch, fouled it off, or was it blocked up? Couldn't quite tell on that. Didn't get a signal from the umpire. We'll go with the foul ball on that. 1 ball, 1 strike to count. Luke Guest looks in for the signal. Now back to work. The set. Serwa shows bunt. He'll pull back. He almost got hit by the pitch.
Very Gibson-esque of him.
Mathieu was at the 400 mark a couple weeks ago. Has dropped down a little bit. Around 370 right now. Breaking ball lays off that. 3-1 the count. Advantage to the batter. Let's see if Dwayne Monlex puts something on as he runs through a series of signs from the third base coaching box. Lynn, the runner at first. Pretty good speed, but that rib cage has still got to be hurting a bit. He stays planted. Mathieu Serwa takes the pitch for a called strike on the breaking ball. Maybe now with 3-2. Trying to stay out of double play. Throw over to first base. Sends Lynn back on the dive. He gets away on the low throw. Here comes Lynn rounding second. He's going to go all the way to third base before the right fielder able to come up and retrieve the ball. Mason Macaluso will get to it before Pribble, the first baseman, can. So a two-base error, E1 on the throw. First error of the series against Dakota State in almost 20 innings of play. So the Bruins again with the runner on third and nobody out. They faced this same situation last inning when Kanta Kobayashi was the runner there, came home on a ground out by Lacey, and again the infield pulling in. And the breaking ball sweeps away. Mathieu Serwa will draw the walk. And Bellevue will have runners at the corners for Drew Staley. Again, catcher Ryan McDaniel goes out to signal his infielders. The middle infielders will have to play a little bit deeper now to respect the potential steal attempt or for the possible double play situation. Here's Drew Staley, the Bellevue second baseman. Staley takes the first pitch for a called strike one.
Good old safety squeeze coming up. Yeah, that's what I said.
Everybody in the press box expects a safety squeeze at some point here. Let's see if that's what transpires. Low and away. Do you know the signals?
No, but I just know him.
Okay.
It's his favorite play.
Yeah. Look how far back there he is.
1-1 the count.
Oh, he did?
Breaking ball, called strike two.
Well, Drew can get it down to CJ Saxon.
Staley has 26 runs batted in on the season. Opportunity here. Way wide. Nice backhanded stop by McDaniel. 2-2. Serwa gets his lead off of first. Lynn the lead off of third. Staley, a little drill around front. Here comes Lynn, going to score. As Drew Staley delivers the RBI, let's see how that's going to be ruled. As the third baseman and shortstop, a little miscommunication there. It'll be an infield single for Drew Staley and a run batted in as the Bruins take a 2-1 lead. Anthony Lynn scores on the play. He was off as soon as he saw where it was hit. Mathieu Serwa advancing to second. Back to the plate for the Bruins. Shortstop, C.J. Townsend. Townsend grounded out his first time up today.
Either sack bunt or take. Either sack bunt or take.
Third baseman Dawson Portner playing in a step or two from the third base line. Bunt attempt, pulls back, ball one call.
He's trying to get on base.
Looked like CJ was trying to bunt for a base hit there rather than a sacrifice. Serwa gets his lead at second. Staley the lead at first. Again, a bumped attempt. This one, a strike, 1-1 the count. C.J. Townsend trying to advance the base runners for the Bruins. 2 on, nobody out. Shows bunt early this time. Fully commits to the bunt, but bunts it against the backstop for a strike 2 called. We've seen a couple of games this year where the Bellevue bunt game was really good, and we've seen a couple of games where the bunt game was really not so good.
It's been bad more than it's been good this year.
1 ball, 2 strikes to count on Townsend. Let's see if he can deliver here. Most likely not bunting with 2 strikes. Infielder still playing in a couple of steps. Now he does show bunt, and he will strike out on the failed bunt attempt. The 3rd strikeout of the game for starting pitcher Luke Guest, as that'll bring Bellevue back to the top of the order. 3rd time through the order for the Bruins. And center fielder Kanta Kobayashi. Dakota State trying to turn a double play to get out of this one. Kanta trying to get something to the outfield to increase the Bruins' 1-run lead. Up and away, ball 1. Bellevue won the conference regular season title last year with a 25-2 record.
Yeah, he's done that.
Dakota State currently owning a 2-game lead. Bellevue needs to win all 3 remaining games in this series to win the conference championship outright. Pitch on the inner half for a called strike 1. Wind continuing to blow from the left side to the right side, anywhere from the teens to the 20s miles per hour. Another pitch on the inner half for a called strike. A little flare in a shallow right field. That will drop for a base hit. Both base runners had to wait to see what was going to happen on the play, so they couldn't advance at the crack of the bat. So a base hit for Kanta Kobayashi loads the bases. As out of the outfield, second baseman Hakeem Uteam, having to stretch out that leg, may have slightly pulled something going for that ball. Hit by Kobayashi. So here's Trad Richardson, the DH. Connor Barnett started the game. Trad came on to hit in the spot, grounded out his first time up. A chance to open up some lead for the Bruins. Breaking ball, misses away. Good discipline by Trad to lay off that. Ducks on the pond, haven't heard that one in a while. One of the Bellevue fans cheering on Trad in this at-bat. Yeah, well, got to be a dad, baseball dad, you betcha. Chopper to third. And Portner has it go through the wickets. The Bruins will take advantage by scoring not 1, but 2 runs. Here's Kobayashi all the way to third. And Trad Richardson didn't hit it well, but Bruins take advantage of the E5. No RBIs, 1 RBI on the play, as Sirwa would have scored anyway. Drew Staley also coming around to score on the play. So Trad Richardson with an RBI, and the Bruins with a 4-1 lead. So 2 errors on the game, both of them by third baseman Dawson Portner. Here's Jake Lacey, a chance to continue to add. The Bruins with a 3 spot in this inning. Low and away. Action in the Dakota State bullpen. In fact, 2 guys warming up down there. Hit to the right field corner. Wind taking it into the corner, and it is a foul ball. Definitely wind pushed, as right fielder Mason Macaluso give and chase. The wind kept pushing it away from him, but also pushed it into foul territory. That would have been a sacrifice fly had it been caught out there. Dakota State advantage not to catch it in foul territory, as that would have been an easy run for the Bruins. Here's the 1-1 pitch to Lacey. Called strike 2. Jake got the first run batted into the game for Bellevue with a ground ball out in the 3rd inning. He could get another one here. Line hard down the left field side. That one's going to hook foul. And one hop out of play.
Somewhere between the two.
Richardson, the runner at first. Kobayashi, the runner at third. Jake Lacey at the plate. Sky's lightening up just a little bit to the west side. Hard ground ball, foul up the left field side. One of the Trojan players gives chase. We had drizzle for much of game number 1 today. At least the drizzle has stopped, but the clouds have hung in, as have the windy conditions out of the northwest. Chopper, that'll score another run. The lead out at second base in the books, not nearly in time for the double play. So Jake Lacey will pick up his second RBI of the game on the fielder's choice. Kanta Kobayashi scores the run. Trad Richardson retired 6-4 in the middle for the second out of the inning. So Lacey, the runner at first, has 2 runs batted in without benefit of a hit, but that's knowing the situation, getting the job done. And now Logan Grant, the 8th Bellevue player of the inning, steps in. Grant 1 for 2. Way wide, ball 1. Yeah. Mick Krupski back behind the microphone once again, saying hi to Chris Williamson, who's on duty this weekend, so not able to be our color commentator in this series against the Trojans. We may see Chris if the Bruins host an opening round in the NAIA National Tournament. Here's the 2-0 pitch. 2-1 as that pitch hits the outside edge.
Mr. Bojanski?
Yeah, Bojanski. 2-1?
Guest comes set at the belt. Breaking ball comes into the zone, 2-2. Runner goes, but the strikeout retires the side, and the inning comes to an end. The Bruins pick up 4 runs in the inning.
4 runs on 2 hits.
2 hits. There was 1 error and 2 men left on base. After 4 complete, it's the Bellevue Bruins 5, the Dakota State Trojans 1. Game number 2 of the 4-game set between these 2 teams to decide who wins the conference regular season championship. Our fans down in Livingston, Texas, sent along a nice compliment about the good broadcast. We've seen every game, and this one has a clear picture and clear, crisp sound. All right, we're glad you guys are enjoying the broadcast. Thank you for the compliment. Go Bruins, go. Get this one. We went to the hotel to grab some warmer clothes and are ready for another game. That's Matthew's dad and grandpa. We mentioned that earlier on, that's what they were talking about doing between games. We're glad you're back. Number 27 in the Bruins, great fans in the stands. Glad you guys are back. Mathieu has singled and walked while you were gone. And the Bruins, with a 4 spot in the bottom of the 4th inning, give Dustin Shorey a nice 4-run cushion to work with 3 innings to go in this 7-inning contest. What's Dustin's pitch count, Bill? 5-0. 50 pitches through 4 innings. That's a good number. Ideally, you like to get 15 pitches or less per inning. So just a fuzz above that. No, wait a minute. He's a little bit below that. No brains, no headaches. Top of the 5th inning. Shortstop Chris Burse will lead it off for Dakota State. Breaking ball by Shorey. Strike 1. Again, working ahead. Burke, Wenninger, and Portner, the first 3 scheduled hitters in this inning. Now 0-2 the count. Fastball nicely located. Foul out of play, first base side. Many of the Dakota State Trojans wearing that little clip in the front of their belts. A key signal, how to play players defensively, what signals the coach wants. Again, a foul back to the net. You oftentimes see that major league players, especially outfielders, whether they play a player to pull or swing late. Sometimes see that on football players as well. 1-2 the count. Burke 0 for 1 in this game 2. Hit into the air to left field. Jake Lacey comes on and towards the line a couple of steps. Adjusts for the win and makes the catch for the first out of the inning. Next up, designated hitter Cade Wenninger.
Next to the plate, designated
Wenninger grounded out his first time up today.
Wenninger.
Dakota State has not had a hit out of their DH spot in the total of both games today. Wenninger swings and misses. Dalton Nelson occupied that spot in game number 1. He went 0 for 6 in the 15-inning contest. Just off the outside edge as that pops out of the glove of Logan Grant.
Love to see a catcher one time just get up and chuck the glove in the dugout after something like that.
There's a nice cut fastball, outer half for the called strike.
Yep.
2-2 the count. Starting to see more and more of the high school players coming in for the game that will follow this one at John Stella Field. Tries to shoot the outside corner and gets it. The strikeout, looking, is the third strikeout of the game for Dustin Shorey.
How do you like your pizza? Frozen.
Next up, third baseman Dawson Portner. Portner trying to redeem himself offensively after a defensive miscue. Fouled out of play, right side. Shorey comes set at the letters. And that one goes all the way to the screen. Just a bit outside. 1-1 to count. Nobody on, 2 away. There's a nice breaking ball for the called strike. I like the home plate umpire strike calls. It's quick and it's emphatic. To short. C.J. Townsend on the 2-hopper on the money and a bang-bang play at first. Dawson Porter got down the line quickly, but Townsend puts him in the books. A 3 up, 3 down, top of the 5th inning.
1, 2, 3.
5 consecutive batters retired by Dustin Shorey and the Bellevue Bruins. As we head to the bottom of the 5th inning, it's the Bruins 5 and the Trojans 1 in this battle for the top spot in the North Star Athletic Association. 2 games coming your way tomorrow afternoon as well. We'll be starting at 12 noon Central Time. Same 2 teams, same location as this battle in the final regular season weekend of the 2023 season gets underway. A quick look at the calendar down the road. The North Star Athletic Association Baseball Tournament will begin on Friday, May 5th in Dickinson, North Dakota. Champion will be crowned on May 8th. And then the NAIA opening round will commence on May 15th at campus sites across the country, 10 different sites, 50 teams, no, not quite, 45. 46 teams will be selected by the selection committee to participate in those opening round sites. The winners will advance to the Avista NAIA World Series in Lewiston, Idaho. That begins on May 26th. The Bellevue team went last year. Have been there 3 times under Dwayne Modlix. Hoping to make a return trip once again. Giving all of our fans of the Pacific Northwest a chance to see the Bruins playing a little closer to home. As we begin the bottom of the 5th inning, it'll be third baseman Nick Gray to lead things off. Nick 0 for 2 in this one.
Leading off will be you, the third baseman, number 31, Nick Gray.
Gray looking for his first hit of the afternoon. Trying to get things started for the Bruins against Luke Guest. Again, the breaking ball and a swing and a miss. That's been the pitch that Dakota State has used a lot against Nick, trying to keep him off balance. There it is again. This time he drives it well into left center field. Couple of outfielders giving chase. No one will get there. One hopper off the fence. And Nick Gray turns that one around with solid contact to lead off the bottom of the 5th inning with that double off the fence. A good start for the Bruins as they lead by 4 and want some more. Anthony Lind. Looks like Anthony's going to be okay after being hit by the pitch right in the rib cage his last time up. Let's see if he's called on to bunt once again or maybe shy about squaring around. First pitch swinging, a nice glove save over at first base on a hot one hopper. Jace Pribble with the nice glove work over there for the first out of the inning. Anthony can't hit it much harder than that bullet, but Pribble up to making the play. And now it's first baseman Mathieu Sirois as the lights come on at John Stella Field at Brown Park. The metal halide lights. They'll take a minute or 2 to warm up as Mathieu takes the first pitch. Breaking ball, inner half, called strike 1. That almost hit Mathieu. 1-1. Lays off that pitch down, 2-1. This is the 3rd different sets of lights that I can remember in my 60-plus years of living in or near the Brown Park area. The original ones on wooden poles with incandescent lights. Mathieu hits it hard to third baseman Portner, stops it, picks it, throws it. And a nice job over there at third base by Dawson Portner staying with the ball to retire Mathieu Sirois. No advance from second by Grade, as Drew Staley will have an opportunity to drive his teammate home.
Next to plate, the second baseman.
Staley 1 for 2. An RBI single his last time up. He'd like to do that again this time up. Chopper down the third base line. Fair ball. Portner with a backhand stop. The throw to first base. An excellent play. Portner has a couple errors under his belt, but a couple of nice highlight reel plays here in this inning. 5-3 once again on the play, robbing Drew Staley of extra base hits and the Bruins of a run. No runs on 1 hit. There were no errors and 1 man left on base through 5 complete innings. It's the Bellevue Bruins 5, the Dakota State Trojans 1. Ed Lahotak on his way out. We can say nasty things about him now.
Who is that last closer?
Dustin Shorey back to the mound for the Bruins. He's gone 5 innings, has only allowed 1 run on 3 hits to this point.
Kirchner?
You're the guy who threw against us in the final last year.
Really?
3 strikeouts for Shorey to this point, so a little bit behind his season average on strikeouts per game. But an effective outing to this point with 2 innings to go.
So we've gone like 17 straight innings without scoring a run off the dude.
Dustin does have 4 complete games under his belt on the season. That ties him with Blake Crippen for the most number of complete games. Most of those complete games have been of the 7-inning variety, but they're complete games nonetheless.
It's sick if all the teams have like, all the conferences have
9-1-2, part of the order for Dakota State.
North Star would get a tap.
Hakeem Uteam will start things off.
The Sun, that would be really stupid.
For the Trojans, their 1 run came in the 3rd inning, 1 run on 2 hits there. Bellevue runs a single run in the bottom of the 3rd and a 4 spot in the 4th. That's our score, 5-1. Bellevue on top as Dustin Shore's first pitch is fouled up the first base line by your team. Your team still trying to stretch out that left leg. We saw him do that as he chased down a fly ball in the last half inning. Chopper to short. Townsend moving up the middle. Strong arm throw across the diamond. Nicely played once again. CJ made the last out of the last inning, makes the first out of this inning with his defense. Top of the order, 3rd time through now for the Trojans. Again, starting pitcher Dustin Shorey. Catcher Ryan McDaniel. McDaniel an RBI double. That's the only run batted into the game for Dakota State. That one gets away. Ball 1. Breaking ball in the zone. Chop foul up the 3rd base side. Scatters a couple of guys in the Dakota State dugout. About a 3.5-hour drive between Madison, South Dakota and the Omaha, Bellevue area. Chopper again, almost the same spot, a little further deeper. Pretty much just head up Interstate 29 along the shores of the Missouri River. Take a left at Sioux Falls. A little further north, okay, past Sioux Falls. A little flare up the middle, that's going to get down for a base hit. Drew Staley able to get there with the glove, but perfectly placed. A couple of the 4 hits from Dakota State have just reached the bat out and make contact variety. So Ryan McDaniel becomes the 1-out base runner. Again, courtesy runner popping off the bench. Daniel Leschner will head to take the base at first as McDaniel goes back to the dugout to get his catcher's gear ready.
That is the 2nd spot.
Center fielder Walker Holtgren.
Walker Holtgren.
Holtgren 0 for 2 today in this one. First pitch swinging, line hard into right field. Anthony Lynn gets there quickly to hold the runners to a 90-foot advance. But back-to-back base hits. That was sharply hit off the bat of Holtgren. And the 3-hole hitter, Jeremy Green, coming to the plate. So Dakota State with an opportunity to cut into their 4-run deficit here. 2 on, 1 out. Bellevue rolled a double play back in the 4th inning, hoping to do so again in the 6th. Breaking ball swung on and missed. Nice movement again from Dustin Shorey. Green came into the weekend hitting above the 400 mark at 404. He's 1 for 2 in this one. That breaking ball gets away from Logan Grant. Wild pitch, the official call. That'll move both runners into scoring position. Leshner at third, Holtgren at second. Bruin infield will play at regular depth. They'll trade a run for an out in this situation. Foul out of play. 1-2 the count. Green had 3 hits in game number 1, including one in that deciding 3-run top of the 15th. Stays alive, reaching out to foul that one. Good location on the pitch from Dustin Shorey.
They have 5 hits and 3 errors. Yeah, 3 errors.
The pitch, wide again. Grant has trouble. Here comes a runner from third. There'll be a play at the plate. And just under the tag, the hand of Daniel Leshner able to get there. Shorey just a bit tardy getting off the mound. And on the wild pitch, the Trojans score their second run of the game. Second wild pitch against Shorey. 2-2 now the count as Holtgren advances to third on the play.
Yep.
A little chopper past the mound. The runner at third holds. Drew Staley makes the play from second, 4-3, but for some reason Holtgren remained at third base. Would have been an easy opportunity to score once he saw it get past Dustin Shorey. Well, the Bruins catch a break if they can retire a Mason Macaluso here.
And in the cleanup spot, the right fielder, Mason Macaluso.
Macaluso 0 for 2, hit into a double play his last time up. 1-0 the count on the Trojan right fielder. Popped up, shallow right field. Anthony Lynn having to come a long way, still coming. Now he'll make the catch to retire the side. That was one that the wind kept pushing away from Anthony, but he showed some speed and got to the baseball. 1 run on 2 hits. There were no errors and 1 man left on base. The run scores on the wild pitch. It's not an earned run, but it's a run nonetheless after 5.5. Our score, the Bruins 5 and the Trojans 2.
Wild pitches are earned runs. Pass balls are not.
Okay. Bill says wild pitches are earned runs, pass balls are not. I thought a wild pitch in that situation would not be earned because to earn it you have to hit them in.
No.
All right. Back to the mound goes Luke Guest, the starting pitcher, now out for his 6th inning of work. Nobody currently throwing in the Dakota State bullpen, so Guest's job try to hold down the Bruins from getting any bigger a lead than they currently enjoy at 3 runs.
One of those goofy, quirky things in the rule book.
Bruins hoping to tack on a couple of runs if they can in the bottom of the 6th inning in support of starting pitcher Justin Shorey.
I'm still pissed. Screw Casey Thompson.
Hey, you got Jeff Sims. He'll be all right.
Sims? Yeah, what's up?
He won like
Leading off the bottom of the 6th inning for the Bruins, shortstop C.J. Townsend.
Leading off the BU.
he'll get hurt in
Shortstop,
game 3, then you'll have no
TJ
quarterback.
Townsend.
Red Star is smothered.
Bellevue has left a base runner on in each of the 5 innings so far. They enjoy a 3-run lead, but hopefully those LOBs will not come back to HURT.
Smothers going to the portal too.
Yeah, they said it's smothered. There's a rumor. Damon
7 left on base through the first 5 innings for the Bruin Bats. Townsend 0-1 the count. Now away wide, 1-1.
declaring your portal.
Oh, nothing.
As long as your coach will take take you back. You know
Yeah,
that.
so I think they said because he's got a chance now to be like the backup.
Breaking ball misses in. 2-1 on the Bellevue shortstop.
Okay. I thought he went in the portal, but
It'll be Sims,
Sims and then Smothers and then Harburg.
that Carney kid.
Yeah.
We gotta go to the four.
Need another guy.
I gotta go to the four.
Fouled again, out of play up the third base side. Drew technically a sophomore in eligibility.
Be like the number 2. He went in the portal too. Yeah. Like all their QBs went in the portal this week. It was a rough week for that room.
These weapons, all the offensive and defensive, all these transfers.
2-2 on C.J. Townsend, leading off the bottom of the 6th inning for the Bruins. Breaking ball, fouled back once again.
First 1,000-yard receiving.
It was pretty good. I mean, to be fair, they never threw the ball for like 50 years.
He'll get picked up in the draft before late Will Levis.
The battle between Guest and Townsend continues at 2-2.
The girl's gonna leave him.
Popped up, and it'll drift out of play over the top of the press box right behind us.
Keep showing. I know. Him and his girl. No, dude, they play that song that's like.
Top of the order awaits on deck for the Bruins.
You just see me like pissed off, and she's just like singing it, trying to.
Townsend finishing up the third time through the order against Luke Guest. CJ 0 for 2.
He's not that good.
Full count as that one misses away.
Richardson dude was good though.
Payoff pitch upcoming.
Yeah.
He was like fifth.
I'm just so pissed my Falcons
I was
took a
hoping
running
the
back.
Bears took Smith and Jigba, but we took a whole outside tackle.
Breaking ball misses away, so Townsend prevails in that matchup. He'll be the leadoff base runner. On at first as Kanta Kobayashi heads to the plate.
Bijan, I was like, for what? Yeah, all year.
Kanta 2 for 3 in this one. A double and a run scored in the third, a single and a run scored in the fourth. Doing what a leadoff man needs to do for your team to be successful. Getting on, getting across, and getting home. Kanta shows bunt, takes the pitch for a called strike 1.
Caleb, what's his face? He was still available. Like,
Yeah.
take him.
What about that Van?
Kanta, a great bat control guy.
The linebacker, Jack Campbell. I guess
Yeah,
they
wow.
needed a DN.
Any bunt opportunity is a chance for a base hit for him as that pitch way wide, 1-1. Again, a series of signals from Dwayne Monlix. And the Bruins back on the attack.
Which one's which, and then the dad gets
Good size lead at first by C.J. Townsend.
Attaboy.
Guest working from the stretch. Runner goes on the hit and run. Portner goes to second base, not in time. Kobayashi safe at first as well. As a little indecision there, Portner did not realize the runner was going. Second baseman Hakeem Uteam was not really covering the base. He was behind it. And so C.J. Townsend able to slide in under ahead of the throw. Fielder's choice for Kanta Kobayashi. And with runners at first and second now, it's designated hitter Trad Richardson at the plate. So 2 on, nobody out. Let's see what Richardson will do here for the Bruins. He shows bunt, and it's foul in the batter's box, picked up barehanded by McDaniel. So again, Bellevue's bunting difficulties showing up in this game.
You're going to be able to take Nick's job when he retires. He'll be our baseball expert up here.
Richardson shows bunt early this time. Holds the barrel of the bat slightly higher. But again, a foul ball. This time up the third base line. So 0-2 for Trad. Let's see if he can redeem himself here. Either with a 2-strike bunt or advancing or scoring the base runners with a hit. Well, again, bunting practice will probably be part of the Bruins practice situation this upcoming week. Bellevue with 2 bunt base hits in game number 1, but have failed on several sacrifice opportunities. Richardson swinging away down the first base line. That one is just foul. Chase Pribble making the play, but well in the foul territory. Runners return. Townsend at second, Kobayashi at first. Trad with that slightly open batting stance. Here's the pitch from Guest. Little flare up against the screen. Foul ball caught on deck by Jake Lacey.
What was he earlier?
90-92.
Count remains 0-2. Trad Richardson battling for the Bruins, trying to advance the base runners.
I would have guessed like 88.
Bellevue up 5-2. Trying to win game number 2 of this 4-game set. And that one gets behind Richardson. Somehow it misses Trad and goes all the way back. So better than a bunt as Townsend works his way to third. Kobayashi works his way to second.
And his slider breaks.
And a visit to the mound by Ryan McDaniel from behind the plate to talk to his pitcher, Luke Guest. Action in the Dakota State bullpen.
This is a pretty hard slider.
Or like 81.
20-something. I'll try to give you a name and a number after this next pitch as Dakota State pulls its infielders all the way up. So Trad, a chance to drive in a couple here. Stays alive, banging the foul ball off the pole.
I mean, it had a lot of fight. I don't think it was
That's like
that hard.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Maybe. I don't really know much. It says 86.
Richardson, a little flare out in the right center field. That'll be deep enough to score a run. Caught out there by Mason Macaluso. His throw will come into third base, but that'll be nowhere near in time. On the play, C.J. Townsend scores the 6th run of the game for the Bruins on the RBI sacrifice fly by Trad Richardson. Kobayashi also advancing to third. So Dakota State will appeal to second base that Kobayashi left early. They don't get the appeal. Okanta remains at third, now 1 out, and Jake Lacey at the plate. And again, Dakota State will bring their infield well in. So good job by Trad Richardson by getting enough distance on that fly ball to score the run. For Richardson, now 29 runs batted in on the season. Lacey takes the first pitch, ball 1. Jake is already driven in 2. Comebacker to the pitcher. Kobayashi kind of caught off third base. Now he's in a rundown. Tries to dive to avoid the tag, but they say Portner put the tag on him. So Conta going on the contact play, but it works out in the Trojans' favor. 1-5 on that play. Lacey reaching on the fielder's choice. And now with 2 outs, the batter is the catcher, Logan Grant. But first, a visit from one of the assistant coaches to again talk to the pitchers and infielder and catcher to see how they want to approach their attack of Logan Grant. And instead, it looks like it may be a pitching change. And that will be the end of the day for the starting pitcher, Luke Guest. He works 5 2/3 innings. But he will depart with a 6-2 deficit for his team. Coming in from the bullpen, number 29, Aiden Urborn, coming on in relief of starting pitcher Luke Guest. Aiden Urborn. Let's find out a little bit more about Aiden.
Urbaum or Urbaum? Urborn?
Oh, Urbaum. It's a little different spelling here. Aiden Urbaum coming in, the sophomore right-hander. This is his 7th appearance on the season. No record in 7 1/3 innings of work. He's allowed 3 hits, no earned runs, has walked 4 and struck out 8, a perfect 0.00 earned run average for Aiden Urbaum.
Yeah, deal.
So he'll try to get the Bruins out.
Let go.
In this bottom of the 6th inning, he'll be facing Logan Grant to start things off.
How are you, sir? Good. How are you doing? All right. Here, grab a pencil.
Urban, a Nebraska kid. He hails from Ceresco, Nebraska, coming on for a little relief work for Dakota State's. Ceresco?
Yep.
It's west of here.
Okay.
It's Ernie's in Ceresco, the furniture store between Omaha and Lincoln. If you drew a straight line, about 2/3 of the way to Lincoln. If you took a right, I don't know the exact highway, but it is actually west of Omaha. That's the running joke. Everything in Nebraska pretty much is west of Omaha. So Urban on to face Logan Grant.
Logan Grant.
Jake Lacey, the runner at first. As Urban comes set. Runner goes, a great jump on the play, but a strong throw by the catcher. The tag applied at second base by the shortstop, Chris Burke. And so the attempted stolen base is cut down by Jake Lacey. 2-6 on the play, and the side is retired. So with throwing only one pitch, Urban gets out of the inning on the stolen base attempt. 1 run for the Bruins on no hits. There were no errors and nobody left on base. A walk, a fielder's choice, and a sacrifice fly plate. One more run. The Bruins lead it by 4 as we head to the 7th and final inning in this one. The Bruins 6 and the Trojans 2. Dustin Shorey back to the mound for the Bruins, trying to get another complete game victory on the season. If he does so, that'll be his 5th of the year. A great job by the comeback kid. Hadn't pitched in 3 years. But 2023 has been a good year for Dustin Shorey. He'll be facing the bottom half of the Dakota State lineup, 5, 6, 7. Pribble, Burke, and Wenninger, the scheduled hitters for Dakota State. Today, April 28th, tomorrow the 29th, and on Sunday, April 30th, and then Monday we turn the calendar to May. That means tournament time for college baseball all across the country. NAIA tournament time, conference tournaments, opening round tournaments, Vista NAIA World Series. NCAA tournament time continues on into June when the Omaha area hosts the NCAA College World Series. That's always a big event in the Omaha area. Starting it off, top of the 7th inning, first baseman Jace Pribble. First pitch swinging past Shorey out into center field. So a good start as Jace Pribble picks up his first hit of the afternoon. Just past the outstretched glove of the pitcher and the 2 middle infielders. We'll have a pinch runner coming on. Number 6 is Seth Altwine. Will pinch run, Seth Altwine for Jace Pribble.
Number 6, Seth Altwine.
Shortstop Chris Burke, the next hitter for Dakota State.
Next to the plate.
Altwine, a sophomore from Kearney, Nebraska. Kearney about a 3-hour drive away. Low down, throw back behind the runner. Altwine back in time.
Simon, a proud Kearney alum.
Oh, Simon Falcon, a proud alum of the University of Nebraska at Kearney. So's my son.
1-0, yeah.
Popped up on the infield. Who's going to take charge? Looks like Drew Staley will be calling for it as the wind blows it over towards his direction. Started out right behind second base, wound up about 30 feet or so to the first base side. So the fly ball, the first out of the inning, as the designated hitter, Cade Wenninger, steps in.
Now batting, designated hitter, Cade Winger.
Wenninger 0 for 2, including a strikeout his last time up. Fouled out of play opposite way. Though Dustin won't get to double-digit strikeouts as he had hoped, and he had done so the last couple of outings he had. 3 Ks to this point, well below his average, but he's held the Trojans in check for most of the game, only 2 runs. 1-1 the count on Wenninger. That one's hit deep to right center field. That has some carry out near the scoreboard, and it is gone. A 2-run home run by designated hitter Cade Wenninger. The first long ball of this game for Dakota State, the second of the series, as it's now a 6-4 score. The first hit from the DH spot. In the 2 games combined, it goes for a 2-run home run by Cade Wenninger. For Wenninger, that is his first home run of the season. 7 runs batted in. Comes at a big time, and so that extra add-on run by the Bruins in the bottom of the 6th inning looms very big as they now have a 2-run lead, and the batter will be the third baseman, Dawson Portner. Breaking ball just misses inside. Portner, thinking that might hit him, was ready to bail. Pitch misses just inside. Fouled out of play, 1-1.
He's like in that stance and just kind of like move kind of early, like where you think you're gonna throw it. You think he's gonna throw it, so if he might cut himself off if you miss it.
Can't quite wrap this one up yet. A swing and a miss on the slider from Shorey, 1-2.
If you don't look at him,
Portner, the 8-hole hitter,
kind of know, like, throw where it should be, you should be fine.
1 for 2 in this one against Shorey.
If you're not expecting it.
Again, out to right center field. Outfielders giving chase. It'll be Anthony Lynn coming on to make the play for the second out of the inning. Anthony's been getting some leg work in this one. Went a long way to grab that for the second out. And last chance hotel for Dakota State in the person of second baseman Hakeem Uteam.
Hakeem Yakim.
Chop foul off his front foot.
7 hits apiece.
4 runs on 7 hits, 3 errors for Dakota State. 6 runs on 7 hits, no errors for the home team Bruins. Foul opposite way. Grade gives it a look. Well beyond play for the Bruin third baseman. Now 0-2 the count. The Trojans down to their final strike.
Yes, sir.
Tries to get into chase. Uteam does now. 1-2 the count. Bruins trying to keep the tying run currently in the on-deck circle right there. Where's Shorey going to go with this one? Again, shoots outside. Pop foul straight overhead. 1-2 the count remains. Two runs on 2 hits in the inning on that home run by Cade Wenninger. Line hard, and the inning will continue. Line drive to right field by Hakeem Uteam. He's been a pretty potent bat in the 9-hole spot with a couple of hits at game number 1, his first hit in game number 2, but that will bring the tying run to the plate for Dakota State, the catcher, Ryan McDaniel. And McDaniel,
The order for the Trojans is the catcher.
over 300 batting average.
First game.
And a visit by Dwayne Monlix to the mound to talk with Dustin Shorey and the Bruin teammates. McDaniel, 2 for 3 in this one. A RBI double in the third. A single and a run scored in the sixth. Looks like Monlex is going to keep Shorey in. A little pat on the behind. And back to the dugout. First visit from the coaching staff for the Bruins. As Ryan McDaniel steps in.
What's it on?
Breaking ball starts off well for the Bruins. A called strike.
That sounds like spending money.
Bruin defense playing McDaniel pretty much straight up across the outfield. Nice work by Logan Grant to slide to his right, keep the ball in front of him. 1-1 the count. Second baseman Drew Staley a couple of steps closer to second base. It'll be his responsibility in case of a stolen base attempt by Eugene. Line drive, one hopper, handled by Staley, and over to first base. The side is retired, and the Bellevue Bruins come away with the victory in game number 2 of the doubleheader by a score of 6-4. For Dakota State in the top of the 7th inning, 2 runs on 2 hits. There were no errors and 1 man left on base. The Trojans do get the tying run to the place, but Dustin Shorey comes away with the victory, a complete game, his 5th of the season. For the winning Bellevue Bruins, 6 runs on 7 hits, no errors, 4 runs on 8 hits, and 3 errors for Dakota State. With the victory, the Bellevue Bruins are now 39-8 overall, 23-3 in conference play. For the Dakota State Trojans, they dropped to 34-14 overall, 24-2 in conference play. So again, 1 game separates these 2 teams in conference play. The Bruins' job tomorrow is to try to win both games of the doubleheader and win the conference. If the 2 teams split tomorrow, then Dakota State will have the 2023 title to their belt. We will have both games as part of our broadcast tomorrow. Saturday at noon we start. We'll be on the air a couple minutes ahead of that for our pregame show. Thanks again to everyone for listening in this afternoon. Thanks to all of you who texted in to be part of our broadcast. We always have fun with that. Congratulations to the Bellevue Bruins as they win game number 2, the doubleheader split today, and more action tomorrow. For head coach Dwayne Monlex, athletic director Ed Lahotak, sports information guy Bill Mullins, and everybody in the press box, thanks for joining us on this cloudy, cool, breezy Friday afternoon. We'll hopefully have a little bit better weather for baseball tomorrow. We'll see you then. Mick Krupski signing off for now on the Bellevue Bruins Sports Network.